Hey guys, and welcome to episode 5 of Stories of My Life. Now, as we approach the greatest holiday of the year, I think it's time I say a couple of scary stories that happened to me. Rather, not scary stories, but stories where I was scared out of my mind, or just plain creeped out. Now, this involves that same cousin that is in a lot of my stories, because we got in a lot of shenanigans together, but this was a long time ago. I had a bunk bed, and he stayed asleep at my house one night, and I think we were both sleeping on the top bunk, and my brother was on the bottom bunk. So it was lights out. My mom turned out the lights. She turned off the lights in the middle of us talking. I said, "Okay, good night," and just clicked off the lights. So we were completely in the dark. So there we were, on the top bunk, in the night, my room completely dark, and all we could see was this creepy light on the floor. This pale green glowing light just down there. We had no idea what it was, and we stared at it, and it just was just there glowing, and we were both freaked out. And he goes to me, and he says, "Erwin, what is that?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And we were both really creeped out staring at it, wondering what it was. It just stared back at us, that creepy light faintly on the floor, like some kind of specter watching us, judging us. And we just stared at it, too scared to go to sleep. It just stared back. The green glowing light on the floor just stared at us, tormenting us. And then the morning came and it was light out and we saw what it was. It was a glow-in-the-dark wax toy stingray. Spooky. I remember one day, same bunk bed, different room, and I see this light coming at me. This bright bluish light comes in my face, and I don't scream, but I'm freaking out. Seriously, in my mind, I'm thinking it's an alien coming to abduct me. It's my brother with a flashlight. Okay, I love scary stuff. I love horror films. I love Halloween in general. I love going to haunted places. But I was the biggest pussy out there. Okay, not just me, as was my brother at times. We would both be scared of the stuff that, looking back, is like not even scary, but to us at the time was. And this was when I was in middle school. I was in 6th grade. My brother, I don't know what he was, 1st, 2nd grade. I don't know. But in his textbook, there was a page, let's say it was page 77. In that page, there was a haiku called, I think it was called Ghost or Ghost Story or something like that. And the illustration on the other page, other side, was of this like shadowy tree like this, like some kind of witch tree. It was just a drawing, like you know those drawings on like kids reading textbooks that they're just drawings. It's not like an actual photograph. It's not even anything really that scary, but it's drawn to be a little creepy, nothing too crazy. But it creeped me out so much, and my brother too, that we couldn't stand looking at that page. I remember I had a friend over, and I told him about the scary page, and he had the brilliant idea of getting the book and trying to show it to us. And me and my brother was so scared of that stupid page that we were terrified and ran away from him as he tried to, like, playing around trying to show it to us. We're like, no, stop. We're like literally almost about to be in tears. Rip it out, throw it away, stop. And he actually did. We were that terrified over a drawing on a page. I really want to see what it looks like, because it's probably a little creepy, but I doubt it was even that scary, the way that we exaggerated it to be. I remember another day, I used to be so terrified of horror films. It was a Friday the 13th, and I was staying over to sleep at my cousin's house, the same cousin that was staying asleep at my house. There's another scary sleepover, and we were watching the Friday the 13th movies. I remember, I don't know which one it was, but it's one where, spoiler alert, or a guy's eating a chocolate bar, and he's bothering this guy with an axe. He's this fat guy, and the guy with the axe gets so pissed he kills him, and then he goes to jail. That's all I remember. But yeah, we were watching all these Friday the 13th movies, and then night came, and it was as long as we're up and we don't make noise, his parents don't care. But his house was so dark and so creepy at night. No, to literally go from the living room where we were watching I don't even think we were watching the movies anymore. We were watching something else. But it was dark. The only light was from the TV. To go to the bathroom across the other side of the house, I was too scared to go by myself because I thought Jason was going to pop up. That's how bad it was. And then he's like, "You're ridiculous." And I'm like, "Okay, then you go to the bathroom." He too was scared that Jason was going to pop up. There's lots of times as a kid when you get scared of something, you get scared of the prospect that something is out there, even though logically you know there's probably nothing out there. I remember, okay, my cousin is a huge, and I mean huge, Scream fan. Like, before he even watched the movie, he was a huge fan of the movie. We had only seen Scream 2 and 3, never seen Scream 1. See, this wasn't like back, like today in the day of Netflix, or even pirating the movie online was like, not every movie was going to be available. So, it was actually relatively hard to find a popular movie sometimes. You go to Blockbuster, they don't even have it for whatever reason. It was weird. Why didn't they have Scream anywhere? He eventually ordered it off Amazon, but he had watched, actually funny story, the first ever YouTube video I ever watched was a Scream scene. If anyone's ever seen Scream, it's a scene with Tatum in the garage, and he told me on the phone, "Hey Erwin, go on this website called youtube.com and then look up Tatum garage scene." And I did. That was the first. I never heard of YouTube. This was back in 2006. I went on there and watched that clip. That was the first ever YouTube video. I had no idea that website would eventually explode to one of the most popular websites that people go on. But anyway, he was such a huge fan of Scream. I liked it too, but he was really into Scream. That he'd call me on the phone just so that we could reenact the dialogue from the opening scene with Drew Barrymore. Sometimes he'd be Ghostface and I'd be Casey. Sometimes he'd be Casey, I'd be Ghostface. I think it was kind of funner being Ghostface because I always liked being the bad guy. But yeah, he was so obsessed with that movie. And the irony is, back when we were kids, like, well, younger kids, when I was like 5, 6, he was like 7, 8, around there. We were both terrified of Scream. We were terrified of The Mask. And I remember, I believe it was Halloween. No, I believe it was October, the year 2000. And one of our cousins, he's a year older than my other cousin. It's confusing. Because I'm going to mention a lot of cousins. Probably not going to use their names. So you might not know exactly who I'm talking about. But this older cousin, okay, back then we literally all lived within a block of each other. Like, we could walk to each other's houses or apartments. Anyway, we walked to that one cousin. That was like a central hub where we would meet up and hang out. So he was going at, I actually really remember one day he asked me, "Hey, do you have like a toy knife, like one of those toy knives that you stab and it goes inside?" And I said, "Yeah, I actually did. I did actually have one." So I'm like, "Yeah." I didn't know what it was for. And then one day, we're there, my uncle's there, and he puts on the costume, and both me and my other cousin, we start crying. The cousin that's obsessed with Scream, that loves that film so much, at the time he was terrified of it. He was crying, freaking out. I was doing the same thing. I was crying even worse. And my uncle goes, "Stop being babies!" And he just slaps the shit out of us for crying at the costume. And then, Halloween of that year, I was in first grade. This kid brings a mask. Like, this was back when you could still wear masks in school. After 9/11, that shit was over. This was the last year. This was October 2000. The last year, from my entire school year, that any school allowed, especially elementary school, for us to wear masks. After that, nuh-uh. But this kid was wearing a Scream mask. My pussy eyes was, and the teacher's like, "Okay, take it off." So I was a little fucking pussy. I was that kid that made that kid go like, "Man, some people just gotta ruin it for everybody." And then that same Halloween evening, I remember my mom drove up to my my aunt's driveway. My aunt being the mom of that cousin that's going to Scream, and he comes out to me wearing the mask. I don't know if he was full costume, but he definitely had the mask on, and the window was down, and my mom's car from the late 80s, so, and it was the year 2000, so this was back when cars, you had to go like this to lift up the window. So he comes up to me, and he's like, woo! You know what? He sticks his head in the window, and I quickly go on and start going like this, like freaking out, and the window starts going up, and his head's in the car, and I'm like, and he goes, okay, stop, because I was that freaking afraid of him with that mask on. But hey, it's kind of funny because my cousin's favorite movie, as far as I know, is Scream. Now, his favorite Disney movie, for sure, I know, is Little Mermaid. But his favorite horror film is definitely Scream. And he used to be terrified of the mask, as was I. My favorite movie of all time is Alien. And I was terrified of the aliens. Like the xenomorph design, like the xenomorphs. I could not even look at a picture one night. That shit terrified me. But it ended up being my favorite movie. So I think there's something about... I think that what scares us as kids ends up fascinating us as we get older. So I think part of why I love Halloween is that it celebrates what's scary and what's creepy. And it's great that we have a holiday that does that. Because one of my biggest pet peeves about what some people do to Halloween is that they try to take out the scariness out of it. Because they don't want their kids to be afraid. I think that's a terrible idea. Your kids should be afraid. Halloween is great. Kids love Halloween because kids love being scared. Sure, they may scream and cry, but it teaches them life lessons. It's part of growing up. And being scared is just one of those things that it makes you a stronger person. You gotta learn to accept that some things are scary, and you gotta learn to face your fears. So we faced our fears of Scream, and it became personal favorites. Like with me and Alien. Now, I'm going to tell you guys a story from this year, so this is my most contemporary story, but it's very relevant. Back in June, I had found out that there's a haunted bridge near where I live, and it's called the Goatman's Bridge. Now, a little background is an urban legend, so go back to the 1920s, 1930s, around there. The official designated name of the bridge is Old Autumn Bridge, but locals know it better as Goatman's Bridge. It was built in 1884. Apparently the legend was this black man who was a goat farmer, and he was doing pretty well, economically. He was a successful goat farmer, and people referred to him as the Goat Man. This was back in the 1930s in the South, not a very tolerant time, so the KKK was still pretty active, and they did not like the fact that a black man was so popular and so successful in the community. So they despised this guy because they were racist shitheads. But one day, the farmer put a sign that says, on the bridge saying, "This way to the Goatman's," pointing in the direction of his farm. Well, I guess the KKK just had it, so they went to his farm one night, they kidnapped him, brought him over to the bridge, they got a rope, they were going to lynch him. They put the noose around his neck, and as they were about to throw him over and hang him, well, they just threw the rope over with him, and as they looked down, the rope just swung there, and no one was hanging from it. The man completely vanished. They completely freaked out, thought it was some kind of satanic witchcraft or something like that, went to his farm, killed his family, and, that was that. Well, apparently there had been sightings of a man with a goat head walking around within the woods, and an urban legend, especially from back in the 80s and such, said that if you drove, because that bridge used to be connected to the road where you could drive on the bridge, that if you drove across the bridge at night with your headlights off, the Goat Man will be on the other side. I believe it was in 2001 they completely closed that off, the bridge from the road, so from now on people could walk or ride their bike over it, but they can't drive over it. So no more headlight stuff. But the urban legend of the Goatman continued on. And there have been sightings and accounts of suspicious and creepy stuff going on. And this was back in June of this year. We went to go visit it, me and my roommates. And we drove down there. We brought the cat and the dog with us in the car, but they just stayed in the car. I guess just for moral support. But we parked the car right there because you park it in this little round parking spot, and then there's these woods. And you can't see the bridge from there. Maybe in the day you can, but there's too many trees anyway. And my heart was beating. I was literally too afraid to get out of that car. And we're just sitting there, and I'm like, okay, let's go, guys. And, well, Ryan, one of my roommates, he is literally terrified of getting down. My other roommate, Hunter, he was scared to get down too, but not as scared as Ryan. Ryan he did not want to get out of that car. But we did. And I said, we got to, because you know what? I paid for all the gas, because I really wanted to come here, so after paying for the gas, we are definitely getting down and seeing this bridge. So we got down, and we got in the woods. I wanted to really go in this, but I was shaking. I was scared. And we walked in the woods, and it was really creepy and quiet. You hear like frogs and bugs and a couple of birds out there. We were walking, and it was really unsettling. It was night and dark, so I kicked a can without knowing, and it freaked the shit out of us. They're like, nope, that's it, we're turning back. I'm like, oh, come on. And they walked back. Ryan walked back to the car, and he got back inside like, nope, I'm doing this. I'm not doing this. And we actually got lost. I tried opening the GPS. Oh, here's another thing. As we were in the woods, apparently, I didn't really feel that much, but they said they felt a chill. But here's what's really creepy. In the woods, we started to see our breath. Remember, this is June. This is summer. Temperature was probably around the high 60s. You do not see your breath at temperatures that high. But we were seeing our breath. And not just like a tiny wisp. I mean like a huge cloud. And I'll tell you, it was 46 degrees this morning here. I could not see my breath. It was cold this morning. I couldn't see my breath. It was in the high 60s there, and I saw this huge puff. So, that was really creepy. We got out of the woods. Breathed. Nothing. As soon as we got out of the woods, we could not see your breath. As soon as we went back, boom, there it is. Your breath. And that was what really creeped me out. More than anything. But anyway, we convinced Ryan to come back out. And I was I think more than the prospect of there actually being a Goatman, what really creeped me out was just seeing the bridge. If you want to look up the bridge, what it looks like, I'll tell you what it looks like. It's a steel bridge with these creepy, rusty, because it's very old, it's rusty, these metal rusty beams that go up like that, and the flooring of the bridge is like all these wood panels, and it's not like the bridge is like in bad shape, but it's aged, so it's got that rustic, creepy vibe to it, like some kind of old shipwreck, but a bridge. And I was just afraid of seeing the bridge, like, just creeped out by it, just the way it looks. That was what was creeping me out. And what was really creepy is, I had no idea where it was. Nothing but trees everywhere. I was afraid that that bridge was gonna show up right in front of me. And we opened up our maps, the GPS was going nuts. It wasn't loading right. So that was creepy out, just trying to find the bridge. And all these creepy noises in the night, like the animals out there, it sounds like something is shrieking. But eventually we find it, and oh my god. I know it's just a bridge, but that thing it was like if you're going in a submersible down into the ocean seeing the Titanic right in front of you. It's so ghostly and creepy, the way it just stands there. I walked up to it. The farthest I got was putting my foot on like the first floor wood panel on the bridge. And that's it. So creepy. We didn't see a Goatman, but we overcame adversity into those woods and found that bridge. And we just walked back and went home. But I will tell you, we went back to the bridge on my birthday, like around midnight when it became my birthday. And I was kind of nervous again, but after we got to the bridge, there was a bunch of people there, so it was not a bunch, but it was like 3 other people there, so it wasn't that scary. But I will tell you, if you're an arachnophobe, you will be terrified of that bridge. Fuck the Goatman. There's spiders literally everywhere. There's these giant spider webs with spiders all over the bridge. So that's what's going to creep you out. Yeah, those are a couple of little stories of things that weren't that scary, like a skull in the dark stingray, but really creeped me and my cousin out, and the possibility of a vengeful goatman lurking out in the forest, looking for souls. Anyway, I'll be telling y'all some good old Halloween stories, and I got a good one. So just you wait. Where's the candy corn at?